Welcome back to the Blue Way Talk Show with your host, Duane Bluestein.
Shelley Marie.
Still Shelley Marie and Isha Cogborn. How are you? We
I'm
good?
still wonderful.
We still here. We still here. So, I want to get back into this whole entrepreneurship business and go.
Sorry, I have a question. And it's been heavy on my brain since the last segment. And I'm just curious of what is the difference between self-employed and an entrepreneur?
I think self-employed is when someone decides, you know what, I don't want to work for anyone anymore. I'm going to go create a job for myself. Entrepreneurship is when you're saying, I'm going to go create something. So when I look at people, and this is no knock on MLM or direct sales companies, a lot of times people will say, oh, I have my own business because I have this MLM business. Really, you're self-employed. And one of my rubs there too is because that business can go out of business any day. If they decide to pack up shop, your business is gone.
Okay, so for those that don't know, MLM,
multi-level marketing company.
There you
So
go.
everything from girdles to vitamins to all those things. But people will say, oh, I have my own business. It's really, you're self-employed. You've created a job for yourself connected to this company. But
That's
entrepreneurship,
how they sell it, though. That's how they sell
and
it.
you still get the tax benefits and all that. But entrepreneurship is really about creating something that wasn't there before, building something new in the marketplace.
Right.
And there's a different mindset when you're creating something that didn't exist before
Right.
versus, okay, I'm good at this. I know how to do this. I used to do it for this company. Now I'm going to go contract and do it on my own. And I'm not knocking that. Because I tell you, when I started my first business in 2009, that's what I wanted to do. It's like, I love speaking, I love training, I love coaching. I don't want a business partner, I don't want employees, I want to work from my home office. Just let me do this till I die. And God kept expanding the vision.
Right. Well,
And
I'm glad that you said that
Then
vision.
all of a sudden it became, okay, empire. Whoop, can't do that by myself.
Right, and that's what it is. One of the talents that I know that I have is being able to have a large vision of the 50,000 square foot. The day-to-day operations,
no bueno.
no bueno.
Yeah.
But being able to take so many different networks and so many different entrepreneurs and putting them in the right position, very, very good.
But then that poses a question again. Like, how do you know? Well, how do I know? Like, I'm like domestic diva catering. I want to do this and this and this. To me, my idea is grand and beautiful. But how do you know the difference between it being this locally here in Arizona and then it becoming this franchise of businesses all over the world? Like, how do you know the difference?
I think sometimes it's just exposure. There are times when entrepreneurs think small because they just haven't seen the possibilities.
Right.
But once somebody shows you the possibilities, then you realize, oh yeah, I want all that too. But you have to be realistic with yourself too.
So is that something that your company does?
It is.
Okay.
It is. And but it comes back to, what do you want? Because I can see, you can tell me something, I can look at it and I can see this humongous vision and see you global all over the world and this $50 billion company. But if that's not what you want, and if that's going to create a lifestyle for you that contradicts what you intended to create
Right.
from this, then don't do it.
So do you pose, like if I was to present or a customer or client presents this to you, will you give them both avenues or you take their, what do? You take their input and then what?
First of all, I want to know what your goals are outside of the business. What are your goals for your life, your family, your financial goals? Because whatever you create with the business needs to match what you're trying to create for yourself. Because if not, you can build this fabulous business that you end up hating. There are people who have left jobs, created businesses, and end up hating their business more than they hated the
Their
job.
Right.
But that was because they didn't step back to think, what do I want? And let me make sure that the business that I create supplements what I want personally and for my
That
family.
makes sense. That's good.
Now, for your company, I like working with kids. I like everyone across the board, but kids now are becoming entrepreneurs younger and younger and younger. And I really feel that their approach is so much far vast than we are. And we're the ones, and Shelley says it all the time, do as I do, and we're like, well, not to the babies like that. You just say it, in a situation as a parent, seeing a child saying, hey, how about doing it this way? And it's hard for us to kind of receive and say, you don't know what you're talking about. I've run a multi-million-dollar corporation. How are you going to tell me? But what is the age frame for a young entrepreneur that you feel really has the right
That's
stuff?
a very good question.
I don't think that there is an age, because there are characteristics that entrepreneurs naturally have, and then there are characteristics that are cultivated. And so sometimes, like I think about my nephew who's 18. He was 3 years old drawing pictures, trying to sell his artwork. I mean, he is just, that's in him. But there are other people that it's cultivated. But we have to, as we're talking to our children about their career path, entrepreneurship needs to be on the table. We need to be talking about that with them early, because the whole game has changed out here. Companies aren't hiring at the rate that they used to, and they're looking for a more flexible workforce. So you're not going to go in, get a job, work there for 35 years, get your gold watch, retire.
Right.
You know, they'll bring in a contract, you work there for a year and you're gone. So we've got to be thinking about different models when it comes to our career path and how we're going to take care of ourselves. So some people may not have seen themselves as entrepreneurs, but just by matter of I got to survive, I got to put food on the table, they've become entrepreneurs, and then they realize they like it.
So do you think leaders on this whole entrepreneurial spirit, do you think leaders are born or created?
I think both.
Ooh.
Kind of the same thing. There are characteristics that are innately in some people that are stronger than others. There's some, I mean, you can look at children. You can, put a group of 3-year-olds together and you will see the natural leader, because they are leading in that group of 3-year-olds. But then if you put the other children in the right environment over time, they develop leadership characteristics and can be good, strong leaders, just as they can be good, strong entrepreneurs.
So you're saying they're born? If you had to pick one.
You're
right?
born with it, but it can be cultivated as well. Okay. It can be cultivated as well. But if you're born with it, and then those natural characteristic talents, gifts are cultivated,
Sky's the limit.
Sky's the limit. You have to, I mean, wow, yeah.
So all those kids out there, when your parents tell you, let me start this over. Parents, don't be telling your kids they wonderful if they really, really not. Okay, we all know the kids. That's, little Johnny is not good at football. Put him in a different sport. Don't tell me he's wonderful. He's not. Don't tell me my outfit looks great and it doesn't.
Oh my goodness,
Right?
Shelley. And that's what's so wrong with our society, because the kids, they just win. I mean, you show up, everybody gets a trophy.
No,
let these kids learn how to lose. Let them realize that
Learn how
you
to lose
don't
fast,
always
because
win.
the sooner you learn how to lose,
you
the sooner
fail
you-
sometimes,
Yes.
and everything you do isn't wonderful. Stop telling your kids that they can do everything. No, they can't do anything. But when they're in their lane, they can do something wonderful. But don't tell your kid they can be a brain surgeon if that's not their lane. No, they can't.
Yeah.
I can get out on that basketball court all day long. I can't dunk.
No.
I'm 5'2", and my vertical is 6 inches.
Yeah.
You ain't getting nowhere near the rim. We don't want you to do none of that. Go kick a ball. Go play soccer. Do something, or badminton and hit a. Sorry.
Yeah, but when we can see those things in our children, when we see those things in each other, and Duane, this is what you talked about, and this is one of your gifts. You see those gifts and those talents in people in business, and you know how to bring the right people to the table so that things get done and the vision is expanded.
That passion or that energy
Exactly.
in that segment or that lane.
Yeah, because if you have a big vision, I'm sorry, you cannot do it by yourself. And so we've got to learn to trust each other. We've got to learn how to relinquish that control and be able to get the right people at the table so we can get it done.
Lord have mercy.
Let us pray
Let
right
us
now.
pray.
Because there's a trust class 101 here at Game Plank in gentlemen. Come to that. It's gonna be soon. Trust and believe.
Yeah.
Who are you talking about?
I'm just talking to everybody. We need a trust class.
We need
right?
a trust class.
Because
So I think I'm now teaching the trust class, according to Shelley. Okay. We can make that part of startup life support.
Yeah. Trust 101.
Trust 101.
Let's start that.
There we go.
You know, whole stand up, fall back, and know your partner will catch you.
I would catch
I
you.
hated that.
I might.
Me too. And I'm short, so I'm gonna hit the ground. It ain't gonna be so bad. You hit the ground, we might
It's some
911.
Right.
Just saying.
Are you? Can I call?
Oh no, I'll catch you. I just said don't call me collect, but I'll catch you if you fall.
I can call you collect still. This is the third segment. I still can't call you collect.
Negative.
Okay. Still can't call you collect. That's what's up. So can you tell me? And I know this is so hard to tell. How do you know when your business is on the right track?
Are you, when you have that strategy in place and you say, okay, this is where I'm trying to be, X to Y by when, Are you moving in that direction? If you're moving in that direction, your business is on the right track. If you are not on the right track. It's that simple.
So besides, you have your business plan and you have checkpoints of goals and time frames that you're supposed to. But I think with being a business owner, it's hard to find out, or it's hard to hold yourself accountable for time frames.
Yeah.
And I mentioned this earlier about the whole realistic deadlines and realistic goals, because I'm thinking, oh, I can make $1 million in about a year.
Right.
I can do it.
Yeah.
I'm on pace, kind of.
And I tell you, when we sit down with people sometimes and they're like, okay, here's my business, here are my products, and I'm gonna be, $1 million in sales, net sales in 6 months. We say, okay, you have to sell 50 million of your products to hit that goal. And it's like, oh.
Yeah.
And then they're mad. But I mean, you just have to be
Reality.
realistic.
But
Thank God for reality check.
But do people think that $1 million is the platform that you have to get to, or is it a monthly increase in revenue?
I think it's a month. Oh, I don't know who you're posing.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I think it's a monthly increase in revenue, because no one's going to be like, bam, I have $1 million in the
Right.
bank. I prayed about this all the time, and this shit still ain't happen.
Right.
But I think it's an increase. I think that's realistic to say, okay, I'm going to sell so many cupcakes, I'm going to have so many tastings, and this month I'm going to make,
And it's going to grow
XYZ.
every single
it
month.
should double
Yeah.
or triple or whatever the number is, the realistic number.
Right.
But it's got to kind of be a little bit of a stretch to motivate people
Right.
to want to do it.
I think one of the biggest problems, though, is people don't know what it takes to sell that cupcake.
They don't want to know what the number is.
So even once you set the number, okay, you say I'm going to sell 100 cupcakes this month. What do you need to do to sell 100 cupcakes?
Right.
So have you ever sold 100 cupcakes before?
Right.
And if you did, what are the things that you did that
To
led
get
to you
there.
selling 100 cupcakes? So from an activity standpoint, you might be, oh, I was posting on Facebook and I had this event and I did this and I did this and this. You're doing 20 things, but there may have only been one tactic in those 20
That was right.
that sold that 100
Right.
cupcakes.
Right.
And so you mess around and you stop doing that one thing. And then all of a sudden, I'm not selling any cupcakes
Right.
anymore.
Right.
But if you don't know what that thing is that's really driving your success, then how do you know
Right.
if you're going to get there or not? And so this is what we see. So
Wow.
people, all of a sudden I'm doing well, all of a sudden I'm not, and they don't know why.
One of the things that I try to explain is understand your monthly goals. So, okay, this month we did this, and these were the accomplishments. These were the fails. And then you go the next month and say, okay, let's minimize on the fails and maximize more on the success stories, and understand how we continue to grow every single month. And then you reflect back and say, okay, let's up the bar this much more, and then keep moving. Because your millionaire status will get there once you have the confidence of it happening on a consistent. Once it starts moving and the ball is rolling and everything like that, then you can put more emphasis back into the business to gain more market share.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing,
Right.
is for you to gain the market share from people. So
Yeah, but every business needs to know what are those key activities. What are these things that I don't care if I only have $5 to invest in this business, if I only have 10 hours to spend a week, what are those things that I know I absolutely have to do? Because these are the things that are driving my business. And I tell you, if I talk to 10 entrepreneurs right now, 7 of them probably can't tell you.
right. Give that web address, your email address again.
Entrepidinc.com. That's entrepidinc.com. And right now we are in the process of interviewing. We're launching an incubator. So you think about your little sick baby, you need help, you need those resources to grow you up and get you stronger. That's what we do for businesses. And so we're in the process right now of interviewing businesses
So it's
for
a
that
NICU
incubator.
for businesses.
It is.
Aw,
So you've
that's
got
so
all
cute.
the support and the
Yeah.
resources and the
I
structure
want
that you
in.
need.
Oh, sorry. I just made this totally personal. Yeah, girl, just go ahead and slide right
Now,
there.
again, we talked about people staying in their own lane.
I was in my lane because I was about to hire her to do everything that I don't know how to do. What?
We were already working on that.
Well, see,
He's saying, "I got you."
Well, see, that's communication.
We
I
already-
got you, but I didn't tell you I got you. How am I? Jump, Shell, jump. I'm like, I don't have a parachute. Yeah, you do. I stuck it in your belt, in your knapsack. You didn't even know it. Well, how was I supposed to know I was going to jump and land on my feet if nobody told me they put a damn parachute on my back? Whose fault is that?
Y'all are hilarious.
Whose fault is that?
Welcome, Arthur, the Blue Wave Talk Show, with your host, Duane. I got your back all the time. Stop it. With your host, Duane Bluestein. Miss Shelley Marie.
With a backpack.
With a backpack and a parachute.
And a parachute.
Isha Cogborn. Make sure you look her up. Check it out. Come and see us again. We'll be back in 2 and 2. Deuces.